football and we have takes. Welcome to Football Takes. Football! Yeah! Football!
Hello, everyone, and welcome into Score North's fourth bowl extravaganza. Today, we are going to be going over all of the college football round 2 playoff games, as well as every bowl game played here on Wednesday, December 31st. Boys, it's New Year's Eve, and we're here to talk some football. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Eric Froton of NBC Sports, and Mike Bainbridge at the CFF site. Guys, how you doing?
Great.
Yeah, doing well. Big day for us, Thor, right? Michigan, Iowa on the slate.
Big day for us. Bainbridge and I are repping the Big Ten today. With Score and Hubbard being based, in Minnesota, I don't get to wear my Hawkeye stuff every day. I try not to put that on the audience every day. A lot of Gopher fans out there. But today, with the Iowa Hawkeyes playing Vanderbilt, the game we're going to get into later, I had to rep it. And, of course, Bainbridge's Michigan Wolverines taking on the Texas Longhorns today. But, boys, without further ado, we have a lot to get to today. We have 8 games, I believe. So let's get right into it, and we're going to start off by talking about the college football round 2 playoff games, beginning with tonight's game against Miami and Ohio State, and then at the end we will get to the 4 non-CFP bowl games being played today. And as always, we're going to go through our handicaps, going to give you best bets, going to give you player props, and I'll toss you guys my adjusted line for every game. So without further ado, let's hop right in, boys. The Cotton Bowl this evening, Miami number 10 against Ohio State, the second seed here. Spread on this game is Ohio State by 9.5. We have a total of 40.5. That thing has kept coming down. My line on this game is Ohio State minus 10.5. This one's in Arlington at AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World, 7:30 Eastern this evening on ESPN. This is a rematch of one of my favorite games of all time, the 2003 Fiesta Bowl, that 2-overtime thriller when Ohio State came back to upset Miami. In this one, injury report, not much to talk about. Each team is without one starter, and I think it's pretty negligible. For Ohio State, they're without their starting right guard in this game. The backups, in my opinion, are just as good as him. So for me, with Ohio State, that one is negligible. With Miami, they are out there cornerback 4, Damari Brown. He's a valued rotational piece who is arguably, or at least by PFF grading, has been the second best Miami cornerback on a per-snap basis this season behind their stud Keontae Scott. Brown had a 75.9 PFF grade and 79.4 in coverage. But again, a depth guy, but in this game against a team with an embarrassment of riches at wide receiver, that does matter. With the table set, Mr. Froton, would you like to kick us off with your best prop in this game?
Yeah, we have over the last 3 weeks, we've seen Bo Jackson really assert himself in the passing game a lot more. Went for 14 against Rutgers, but really more so against Michigan. Caught 4 of 4 passes, 49 yards in the last game against Indiana in the conference championship. 2 catches for 13 yards. He's cleared his very reasonable 10.5. Actually, he was 9.5, or at least he was this morning on BOL. So the prop builder, as well as Bovada. That is corrected a little bit up into this point. If you're looking at him in the 10.5 range, which I've also seen him, I like that. You're getting in the 13s, getting a little close, but I'm going to go with the over on Bo Jackson, where I think they'll have to assert themselves against Miami. I don't know if going up the gut against this pretty formidable line from Miami is a good idea. I actually kind of looked at him. He was up around the 80-yard mark. I thought that was a tantalizing potential under. I kind of laid off. He's down in the 71 range right now. I think you're getting right into that nervous, teetering territory. So I will respectfully lay off. I wouldn't blame me if you took a look at it.
And so, Froton, you're thinking Julian Sane, who loves that quick-hitting passing, the quick-hitting passing game, and then trying to work around that amazing Miami pass rush, and maybe we get some quick hitters to Bo Jackson here and get over that that small.
Keep in mind, last year we saw against Notre Dame, in these high-leverage games, Trevion Henderson at the end of the first half got a structured screen pass that he took 75 yards for a touchdown. I think they get at least one structured pass and probably another dump off, depending. So I think the script-wise, it could really play in our favor.
Bainbridge, what's your favorite one, and why is it not Carson Beck's over half of an interception?
Well, I was surprised. I think we all need to just collectively bet Carson Beck one last time, most likely one last time. Yeah. I didn't have any plays at this moment. I got all mine in early. I definitely agree with Eric's Bo Jackson over receiving. That's actually skyrocketed up to 13.5 on FanDuel right now. So if you can get 9.5, 10.5, that's a steal at this point. My plays were early on. I took, Eric alluded to it, I got Bo Jackson under 85.5. That's now down to 71.5. Anytime Jeremiah Smith, if you can find it somewhere, I don't think it's there anymore, but if you can find him in that -110, -120 range, I don't mind his anytime touchdown. He scored 3 touchdowns in 4 playoff games last year. And then I actually got that open at +100. And then the last one, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I did take a stab at Malachi Toney, his under on 0.5 passing yards. I don't think the Malachi Toney throwing a pass at this point is surprising any defenses, especially at this point in the season. And he attempted 1 pass, didn't complete it last time out against Texas A&M. So I did take a stab at his under 0.5 passing yards.
That one's, I think people might think, get cute with it and toss that into a couple tickets because Miami's going to have to generate offense and it's such a good defense. And so, they'll call a play like that, but no guarantee that it gets completed. But also, Ohio State's not really the defense to do stuff like that against. And I'll hop right into my handicap now to get into that. But Ohio State's defense, they stay in their lanes. They very rarely blitz. It's a gap integrity team because they have better players than you all across the field. It's really hard to fool them. You're not going to fool them with misdirection or some of the nonsense with the wide receiver passes. You're not going to. You have to beat Ohio State straight up. They're also the number 1 tackling team in the country, for whatever it's worth. But to the Miami side in that offense, speaking to it, obviously they struggled against Texas A&M. They had the 56-yard run by Mark Fletcher, 3 minutes left in that 3-3 game to end up winning that at the very end. Hurricanes defense dominant again. They held A&M's running backs that game to 2.8 yards per carry to the point of the Bo Jackson viability on the ground in this game. Miami also sacked Marcel Reese 7 times in that game. Carson Beck, our old friend, went 14 of 20 for a season-low 103 yards. He averaged 4 yards per dropback, 4.0 yards per dropback, and only 4 passes, boys, thrown beyond 10 air yards past the line of scrimmage. They get so risk-averse with Carson Beck in these close games. They can't trust him to throw downfield because they'll get intercepted, to the point of our Carson Beck over the interception thing. But Ohio State, number 1 SP plus defense, number 1 tackle success rate. 6 Ohio State Buckeyes were on the first team all Big Ten defense. There was 5 non-Ohio State Buckeyes on that first-team defense. I don't know how Miami generates offense in this one. I mentioned that Ohio State doesn't blitz much. They do not take gambles defensively. They trust their superior athletes to make plays in front of them. Don't know how Miami's going to get around that. You're not going to fool the Buckeyes like I mentioned. And then Beck tends to melt down when the game script flips against them, and he has to throw downfield against good pass defenses. Carson Beck threw 6 interceptions in the 2 losses for Miami this year, and Ohio State's the best defense that they're going to play. Ohio State, they have all the firepower, Carnell Tate and Smith on the outside, Max Clare gobbling up the efficiency over the middle when you leave that thin. Ohio State, they also on offense gave up the lowest pressure rate in the nation, which I do think is important against this Miami defensive front that's been dominant. You do have to give the contextual point that Ohio State's offensive line did struggle a little bit against Indiana. Indiana has a really good pass rush, which we'll talk a little bit about. So can Miami generate anything there? But for me, at the end of the day with this handicap, both these teams play at an utter snail's pace. Each are bottom 10 in adjusted pace. Miami's average seconds per snap is the 9th slowest in the nation. Ohio State's is the 2nd slowest in the nation. So you're not projecting many possessions in this game. game against these really good defenses. Miami's going to try to turn this one into the exact same game that they played against Texas A&M. They want to play a low-scoring rock fight. And with Ohio State, when I was thinking about it from their perspective, is this game going to be any different than a game against, for instance, like Texas, where you're sort of just circling around them and you know you're a bit better than them, but we're not going to take any chances because we can beat you in a phone booth. For all those different reasons, my bet on this one, even with this number as low as it has gotten, I am still taking the under at 40.5. I had an initial lean to Ohio State minus the points, but with my expectation of how few points there's going to be scored in this game, you can understand why I'm a little bit reticent to lay the 9.5, especially if we get a game script that is similar to that Ohio State-Texas game. So I'm going to take the under on that one. Boys, the next three that we have are all played on Thursday, January 1st, so tomorrow. But we're gonna start with those, and then again, for those that weren't with us at the beginning of the episode, we're gonna be talking about today's non-CFP bowl games after we get done with the 4 CFP ones. But we're gonna front load the marquee games here. So tomorrow, the Orange Bowl, number 5 seed Oregon against the number 4 seed Texas Tech. Oregon's a 2.5-point favorite. Total on that game 51.5. My line on that one is Oregon minus 1.5, so I'm pretty close to that number. This one's in Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, and this is noon Eastern kickoff tomorrow on ESPN. The injury report on this one, Evan Stewart is out again. I don't know why they have him at practice, then they have him out of practice, and then they put him on the injury report. Our understanding was Evan Stewart was going to be out for the full season, but I guess we have to mention him anyway.
Evan Stewart did this at like Texas A&M. Like he dressed and then never played. So this is just a common theme with him.
Yeah, classic Evan Stewart. The wide receivers of note, though, on the Oregon thing, DeCorian Moore and Gary Bryant Jr. are off the injury report. So we had them back in the last game. They do not have any injury designation heading into this one. And then on the Texas Tech side, their stud nose tackle Skylar Gill-Howard has been out for the season with an ankle injury since the Kansas game, so that's not new news. Their backup quarterback, Will Hammond, is out, which I only mention because Baron Morton is being held together with duct tape right now. So that bears mentioning if you see Baron down on the field at any point in this one. Good offensive lineman Hunter Zambrano's been out as well for Texas Tech, will be in this one. But good news is that Jacob Rodriguez, their amazing linebacker, listed as probable. He is going to play in this one. And then I mentioned Baron Morton and his minor injuries that he's the Evan Stewart of quarterbacks, Bainbridge. Baron Morton, a guy has suffered, he has a minor injury every single week. He told the media, gave him an update on his lower leg injury, which it turns out is a hairline fracture in his fibula. And what Baron Morton said this week is, quote, "It's been great getting these 20-something plays that we got, 20-something days that we got, but I'm feeling closer to 80 to 85%, as close as I want to be for sure. Not 100%, but it's closer to 100% though." Maybe I just shouldn't have read that last part. But anyway, that's with that being said, Froton, in this game in the prop market, what do you like?
Yeah, in the wrestling world, that's known as Steiner math, Scott Steiner math. Anybody who's a wrestling fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That being said, good luck. I wish we had a rushing line on Baron Morton, like we had a rushing line at 0.5 yards on Carson Beck last game, which was obviously an easy play, and he was well into negative territory. I know. Wish we had. Where are our QB under rushing? Of course, Michael will handle that in a moment. I'm going under on Noah Whittington at 65.5 rushing yards.
I like this one.
He was in like the late 70s. He opened up at and got sort of beaten down. I think our boy Bot Capozzi had something to do with that. I definitely took a couple positions on it as well. But if you look at it at his usage, look at the last game against James Madison. You got 7 snaps in the rushing game. Only rushed 4 times, 24 yards. You have Jordan Davidson, Jair Hill, who when I went to Oregon at Penn State, I hung out with Kenyon Bonner for the majority of that game, and he was gushing about Jair Hill. He's a personal protege of the former Oregon great, and he really came out last week, 85 yards, a touchdown, blew it open with a big 53-yard run for a touchdown. And also Jordan Limar, I only got a carry or 2, but I mean, he's another cook in that kitchen against this vaunted Texas Tech defensive line that I mean, there's only one guy who really beat this all season, and it was last game, which was L.J. Martin. They had to give L.J. Martin 2 carries on the very last drive with a bum shoulder that requires surgery. He's not playing for BYU. He didn't play in the game in the bowl. Has to have surgery. Why Kalani Sitake kept him in the game for the very last drive where they're getting absolutely destroyed because Bear Bachmeier threw 4 consecutive interceptions. He shouldn't have ever beat that 60-yard mark. He's the only one. With this rotation of running backs, I mean, it's really hard to parse who's going to get what. And with Whittington at the highest amount, I'm going to take him to fade him on the under against this Texas Tech defensive line.
I like that one. Bainbridge, what about for you in this game?
Yeah, I'm on the under on Dante Moore, 8.5 rush yards against, as Eric alluded to, this vaunted Texas Tech defense. Last 3 starting quarterbacks to face Texas Tech all had negative rushing yards. Only 4 quarterbacks this season have surpassed 10 rushing yards against Texas Tech this season. You are looking at Avery Johnson, who is a runner, Zion Chris. Yeah. Only thing he can do is run. Bear
Bachmeier, our boy, remember Zion? Oh,
our
God.
Boy. Yep.
Bear Bachmeier, who had 10 yards in his first game and then negative rushing yards in the conference championship. And then Devin Dampier, also a runner. Dante Moore is a pocket passer. So I'm going under his 8.5 rushing yards. Texas Tech is tied for 6th in the country in sacks. Who else is tied for 6th in the country in sacks is Indiana. When Dante Moore faced Indiana, he had negative 27 rushing yards on 9 attempts. So I'm going under that. 2 potential live bet situations I'm looking at in this game. If they end up listing Gary Bryant Jr., he only ran 8 routes. He only played 8 snaps against James Madison, was really just relegated to special teams duties. So if we do get a line on him pregame, I'll be looking to bet the under on that. The other one I'm looking out for is Jordan Davidson. He suffered a leg foot injury against James Madison, came out of the game. Obviously, the game was in hand at that point. He's not listed on the injury report, but as we've kind of seen in some of these bowl games, Bear Bachmeier was clearly injured in that Big 12 title game, wasn't on any sort of injury report, and he was clearly limited with that foot injury against Georgia Tech. So if we kind of see that Jordan Davidson maybe is hobbled at any point in the pregame, I'll be looking to his under at 38.5. I mean, as Eric alluded to, you got 3, potentially 4 rushers in that backfield, which it can go in any direction, right? So I might be looking at that live bet under.
Like it. For me here, my handicap, Texas Tech, they were one of the biggest under teams in the nation this year. 8 of the last 10 of their games went under the total. Tech was also the best against the spread team in the country. They went 12-1 against the spread. They've been outscoring opponents nearly 31 points per game. Smallest margin of victory all season for them was 29-7 against BYU on November 7th. And, of course, the only loss Tech had all year is when they played Arizona State, an Arizona State team that was at full strength when Tech played them without Baron Morton. Tech coming in off a bye here. Oregon last game did not look as dominant against James Madison, 51-34 win. Texas Tech's metrics are absolutely insane. Defensively, Tech is first in yards allowed per carry when you take out sacks, the least of them, to the point of the props with the Oregon runners going under those. And they're third in yards allowed per drop back as well. Texas Tech has the best front 7 in college football. Our joke, the best front 7 money can buy. They create a ton of havoc. Tech has forced at least 2 turnovers in 10 games. Potential look there for a Dante Moore interception as well. The concern is that Texas Tech hasn't faced a team that throws super duper well as Oregon to this point. Tech's played against only one top 15 defense. And if you look at top 15 offense, you look at top 40 offenses, Utah and BYU are the only 2 that they've played. Then again, Oregon, they have run up their offensive numbers on bad opponents. Against the 3 top 15 defenses, Oregon played Indiana, Iowa, Washington, 21 points a game in those. And Texas Tech, of course, did not allow 28 points in any game this season. Oregon's defense also has struggled when stepping up in competition. These are the points they allowed against top 22 SP plus offenses this year. They gave up 24 to Penn State, which actually had the number 20 SP plus offense. I was surprised about that. They gave up 30 to Indiana, which is number 4. Gave up 27 to USC, who's number 10. And then James Madison, they're number 22. And as mentioned, they gave up 34 to them. That's an average of 28.75 points per game allowed to top 22 SP plus offenses. Texas Tech has the number 2 SP plus offense. Then again, they haven't. Texas Tech hasn't played as good at teams, but I think they can scratch out enough offense here. And you kind of saw that with James Madison against Oregon, where the adjustments were enough to start moving the ball in the second half. My bet in this one is I'm going to take the points with Texas Tech, the 2.5. I'm on the Texas Tech money line as well. I do have a lean to the under. But my official play in this game is the points of Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech wins that one. I think that they're a bit underrated, and I think they probably should be. I think this one should be a pick 'em, or maybe even Texas Tech minus the 1 or the 2. Boys, moving to the Rose Bowl, where we are expected to have inclement weather tomorrow in Pasadena, California. This is a 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff tomorrow. Indiana, the number 1 seed, is a 7-point favorite over number 9 seed Alabama. Total on this one, 47.5. My line on this game is Indiana minus 8.9. The Hoosiers, they win their first Big Ten 58 years, and this is the first time they've gone to the Rose Bowl in 58 years. And of course, you have the storyline here of Curt Cignetti having been the assistant under Nick Saban and then leaving Alabama to start his head coaching journey and then working up to Indiana and then building Indiana into an immediate colossus. And now you get Alabama in round 2 of year 2. For Curt Cignetti. Mentioned that the weather is supposed to be rainy, and we'll get into in a second how that could be affecting the prop market and how Froton and Bainbridge thought of that. But first, the injuries. Alabama, there's nothing new of note to report there. The Indiana side, there's one. That's their defensive end, Stephen Daly, who was lost for the season against Ohio State. Indiana's got an interesting thing going on at their opposite starting defensive end position from the stud, Mikhail Kamara. At the beginning of the season, the starter there was a guy named Kellen Wyatt. And Kellen Wyatt, he suffered a season-ending injury on October 18th, which inserted Stephen Daly into the starting lineup. And it just so turns out that Curt Cignetti ran into another one where this Stephen Daly, he enters the starting lineup and proceeds to accrue 19 tackles for loss. 19. This guy was a starter for half the season. That is second most in the FBS. Stephen Daly also led Indiana in run stops this year, finished with 5.5 sacks. But with both Wyatt and Daly out, Indiana, you do not have much experience left on the bench, and you have to go to, I believe the guy starting now is, I'm going to screw up the pronunciation, Daniel Duckwee. I'm going to say that he's going to get the bulk of reps across from Kamara is what I'm thinking here. The other thing of note, and this one is topical for props, is that Indiana's going to be getting Omar Cooper back in this game. Froton, with that being said, what props do you like in this one?
Yeah, Omar coming. That Stephen Daly injury, it cannot be understated. You did a pretty good job of outlining it, but dude, watching his tape, Daly was a wrecking ball this season. Gets hurt in a post-game celebration. Oh, my God, the pain of Hoosier Nation. I really empathize with them, and hopefully they can overcome that because, gosh, we got a 38.5 open on Jam Miller. That's down around 30. I want to say Hill's at 29.5. So, like, there could be some value there on the rushing side with both of them out. Not on Jam Miller. I was, hit him right there at 38.5, 31.5 now. I don't think he can touch. Maybe you take a look at Daniel Hill, who I do think is a better rusher. But official play, I'm going over to Indiana. I think this will be a competitive game. I do think Alabama will be able to at least keep pace, even though Indiana has been a dominant force. No, I think Indiana's going to have to press a little bit with the reigning Heisman winner. I'm going over 17.5 receiving yards for the tight end, Riley Nowakowski. He's out there every snap. They flex him out. He's caught at least 2 passes in 7 of the last 8 games. The only one he didn't was against Purdue, where they absolutely destroyed their in-season, in-state foes. Are they even foes? I mean, they are FAUX foe. But he didn't have to do anything against Purdue, and that was the last game of the season right before the conference championship week against Ohio State. He is crushing that 17 line. I think he goes well over it, and I like Riley Nowakowski for that over.
And Froton, with this game being played in poor weather, the updated one I'm looking at it now with the 78% rain, does that, you think about that and then potentially some shorter passes, which would go right into that Nowakowski over, right?
Well,
with
here's
the
the
tight
thing.
end there.
Totally. It's the Rose Bowl, guys. Okay, so when you hear rain, you have to qualify with that. As somebody who has literally been in the Rose Bowl more than any other person that you're ever going to talk to, went at least 3 times this year, it's Southern California rain. It's not real rain. It's not Midwest Minnesota Thor rain. That's not the kind of rain you're getting. It's a mist. You don't get real rain out here, okay? So, yeah, it's rain in name only. I'm not worried about Indiana, who deals with worse conditions all the time than out here. I don't think it's really that much of a concern in the passing game, especially where, as you astutely pointed out, the safety valve / they leak him out. I watched a bunch of Nowakowski last night before I went and made this bet. And they will call plays for him. He is an integral part of the offense. Had 4 catches against Wisconsin, 3 against Penn State, 3 against UCLA, 3 against Oregon. He gets those targets. So I feel pretty good about it. I don't think the rain will affect his production that much.
Love it. Bainbridge, what about for you in this game?
Yeah, and I just to add on to that point, I'm only seeing like 7 mile per hour winds. So I usually typically look at windy conditions over rainy in terms of affecting the passing game. I'm looking at Omar Cooper under. I know the report came out yesterday that he's reportedly full go for this situation or for this game here. But the dynamic of the Indiana passing game has kind of changed to, as we've seen, and I know you love him, Eric. Charlie Becker has
love Charlie Becker.
I think as the wide receiver 2 here, and he might be like physically the most talented receiver on that roster, even ahead of Elijah Surratt and Cooper. So just the fact that, Charlie Becker's emergence, I think playing a part in why I'm going under here. In the last 4 games, Cooper's only gone over this once. And that was against lowly Purdue. So, we're taking that into account. His ADOT is only 9.6 yards. So he's not getting downfield passes, and he will need volume to hit this mark. And I just don't think he's going to get the volume because of Surratt, because of Charlie Becker here, and hopefully Riley Nowakowski as well. But I looked back at these big games that Indiana's played in, and they really look towards Surratt in these types of situations. He had 121 yards against Oregon, 156 against your Iowa Hawkeyes, Thor. They had 92 yards against Illinois when they were previously ranked back in October. So they really, the passing game is centered around Surratt in these types of situations. The one, I'm curious if you guys have an opinion on this one. I know you looked at it, Eric. I'm also curious on that EJ Williams 16.5 receiving line. Like, he is phased out of that rotation at this point. The only issue is that he can catch 1 pass and that goes over. So I did not take it, but again, he's coming back from injury. He's at least wide receiver 4 at this point. So I don't know. I was tempted to take that, but kind of held off.
Yeah, I would not blame anybody for going and taking a piece of some EJ Williams. And as you mentioned about Iowa, Thor, I almost had to wear sunglasses. You're so bright today with that yellow hoodie. Like, I can barely see the screen.
Like that?
I love it.
Bainbridge, the Surratt lines, the number is out there, 4.5 receptions, and you can get a little bit better than even money at Underdog right now. And then it's 59.5 receiving yards. Did you have any thoughts on those with what you were saying about the lean of the pass game, these big games?
Yeah, we only have 61 projected receiving yards, so it wasn't that significant of an edge. That's just more kind of a storyline, type thing that I've looked for, a trend, as you can say, with the Indiana passing game.
For sure. With me in this on my handicap, and folks that have watched the shows this year probably know where I'm going with this. I think Alabama's fraudulent. And yeah, they got me the last time, but we're going to be fading them again here. Alabama, their resume this year, dominated by Florida State in the opener. They had a 26% or lower post-game win expectancy in their 3-point wins over Georgia in the regular season, and Vanderbilt, 44.5% post-game win expectancy and a 7-point win over Auburn. They got dominated by Georgia in the SEC title game. Then they fall down 17-0 to Oklahoma in round 1 of the CFP and get outgained in that game by more than 100 yards. Benefit from a pick six. Benefit from 2 missed field goals from the Luke Rosa winner, who hadn't missed any kicks all season long. And Alabama wins that one by 10. The Tide are now 4-1 in one-score games. They've won 4 games in which they were outgained. They are fool's gold. Indiana's resume, meanwhile, is legit. They have 2 of the best wins that we have seen in all of college football this season, beating Oregon in Eugene and beating Ohio State in the neutral Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis. Alabama categorically cannot run. It's been the story with them all season. They need to pass to win. Unfortunately for them here, Indiana's pass defense is utterly elite. Indiana's defense overall, number 2 SP+, and then they have the elite pass defense. I mentioned that Ohio State had 6 guys in the first team, all Big Ten defense team. Indiana had 4 of the others. So the rest of the conference got to share 1 amongst them. Indiana's defense really, really good. The one weakness of it is you can rip off explosive runs against Indiana's run defense. Alabama categorically cannot generate those and doesn't. The Tide are 127th in yards per carry in the FBS out of 135 when you take out sack yardage. Both of the defenses, they stay in zone coverage all game. I will say Alabama did shake things up a little bit in the second half against Oklahoma. They ran more man and they sent more pressure. So will they have something similar here, a wrinkle? They needed that one. Desperation is a stinky cologne, as they say in Super Troopers, and Alabama changed up a lot of stuff after the initial portion of that game went wayward for them, and they were obviously able to come back. I don't think they have enough adjustments in the book here to do the same thing against Indiana. Hoosiers, number 4 in rushing success rate this season. Alabama's run defense is good. I do think Mendoza is going to have success here through the air. And then you look at the other side with Ty Simpson, who pulled himself out of the nosedive at the end of that Oklahoma game. Indiana's pass rush, though, is awesome. They're 7th in sack rate, and they can get heat on the quarterback without sending the blitz, or they've been able to this point. Now, does the injury to Stephen Daly change that at all? We'll have to see. But Indiana has NFL players up front. Mikhail Kamara has been the headliner with that. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Ty Simpson to win this game by himself through the air. I don't think it goes well for him. I don't think he will end up faring well in a firefight against Fernando Mendoza here. I am happy to lay the 7 points with Indiana, and a head coach with Indiana that would love to drop the hammer on the school that he used to play, or he used to coach for, in Kirk Cignetti.
Passed him over, didn't he? It doesn't feel good to be passed over for promotion.
And he
remembers.
Yeah, and it was an assistant, right? Like he never even got up to coordinator there, and then had to go to the D2 route to become a head coach and then work himself up to where he is now. I've said it before, say it again. Kirk Cignetti now is the Nick Saban of this sport. That's the guy right now, right? And you get your shot here in year 2 to go back to Alabama, face that team where you came from, and just absolutely drop the hammer on them. I think Indiana wins that one by double digits. Boys, the last CFP game we have here, number 6 Ole Miss, number 3 Georgia. This is in the Sugar Bowl. This one is tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN in the Superdome in New Orleans. Total on this game is 55.5. Georgia favored by 6.5. My line on this one, this is going to give away where I'm going with this one. I have Georgia minus 2.6. And again, for my lines that, take in coaching changes, taking opt-outs, taking injuries, and I try to do my best to factor in all that stuff, including the quality of the backups, when I adjust the lines or whatever. And with this one, I come out with Georgia minus 2.6. Georgia on the injury front, they've lost their outside linebacker, Gabe Harris Jr., with a turf toe injury. He's a super versatile defender who Georgia's going to miss a bit here. The context we'll give for this one before I kick it over to Froton, the regular season game between these two, because this is a rematch, of course. Ole Miss, they use the hyper tempo and they use their passing offense to score touchdowns in their first 5 possessions against Georgia in that game, and they led 35-26. And then Georgia kind of did what they've been doing some this season in storming back late. They closed that game on a 17-0 run to win 43-35 in Athens. And now, of course, we have a 6.5 point spread in this one. Lane Kiffin's gone. Pete Golding, of course, was named the permanent head coach there, the former defensive coordinator. Froton, what do you like in the prop market in this game?
Yeah, I'm going over the run game, and that's why they came back. Georgia started pounding them right up the middle. I watched that game again, and they were like, all right, enough of this. We're not getting cute with Ole Miss anymore. We are imposing our will upon them, and there's going to be two things they can do about it, nothing and like it. And that's how they approached it. A big part of that was Chauncey Bowens, got 10 carries, went for 61 yards against Ole Miss, and the team itself went for over 200. And we've really seen Bowens behind, kind of even alongside Nate Frazier, be a very important weapon for this team, which is why I was pretty surprised that given his usage, which I expect 8 to 10 carries for him, you're going to give Bowens 8 to 10 carries against this Ole Miss defense, the way that they're running, with the way that they attacked him in that second half that you're going to get for a full game. That 21.5 rushing yards is going to get smoked. I love the over on Chauncey Bowens, 21.5.
Love that. What about for you, Bainbridge?
Is he frozen?
Bainbridge,
Oh no, he's Michael. You're muted.
You're muted, Bainbridge.
Sorry.
I can hear him.
Yep,
I can hear him swearing through the monitor right now.
Well, one of the dogs was barking, so I had to mute it. Yeah, I'm on the under on Kewan Lacey, 69.5 rush yards. I was hoping this would get steamed up a little bit higher after the reports came out earlier this week that he's quote unquote healthy. If you fully believe that after he left the game with the shoulder injury against Tulane, but I'm banking on the fact that Georgia's run defense is just stifling at this point. They are 7th now in EPA per rush play. They have held combined the last 4 opponents to just 139 total rushing yards. So you combine that with the fact that Lacey may not be 100% healthy. He only had 31 rushing yards in the first meeting. He did find the end zone twice, but 12 carries for 31 rush yards. I think it's going to be a pass script for Ole Miss in this game. So I'm going to go under on Kewan Lacey, 69.5. The other play that I did in this game is Gunnar Stockton anytime touchdown. He is got a team high 38 red zone rushing attempts over the 2 running backs for Georgia. And this is a stat that I heard on the Action Network podcast. Shout out to Colin Wilson. 40 trips to the red zone for Georgia this season, 35 resulted in touchdowns. They are converting those red zone trips into touchdowns. So I think they're going to score a lot of points in this matchup. So I like the anytime touchdown at even odds for Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, and to the point about Lacey, the number, it opens a little bit higher because he's averaged, 134 yards a game over the last 5. But you mentioned he's nicked up, and then Georgia has one of the best run defenses in the country. They shut out the lights on that. That being said, the way to beat Georgia, it's through the air. And they have buttoned up some stuff with their pass defense. It's been a bit better down the stretch, although some of these teams that they play down, like Charlotte was one of the teams they play down the stretch, leaves a little bit to be desired. But they have gotten better with that. But I think Ole Miss matches up really well in this game. Again, the way that you have to beat Georgia is through the air. Ole Miss, that is their best thing. And we saw it in the first game, a game that I believe that Ole Miss should have won. Georgia has one of the least explosive offenses of these Elite 8 teams. Everything is short, designed to chip at the sticks, and could certainly make the argument when they play their bully ball thing that they match up well against Ole Miss's defense. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I think both the teams are going to move the ball in this game. And sure, you lose a play caller like Lane Kiffin. It probably doesn't help, right? But it does appear that Ole Miss has rallied around the idea of his absence, and they're sort of, the inmates now running the asylum, or however you want to say that. And not only that, UGA's staff, Georgia's staff, they're so good at sniffing out tendencies. You wonder if they might get some curveballs here with Lane Kiffin not the one calling all the pitches. We already saw this one once. I expect this one to be close, and I expect it to be decided late. I like Ole Miss in this one. I'm going to take this 6.5 points there in a game where I believe that they are live. Boys, moving on to the non-CFP games, and now we're moving back to today. So we're gonna rewind the clock to today. With the first kickoff we have today, the ReliaQuest Bowl, Iowa against Vanderbilt. This one kicks at noon Eastern today on ESPN. Spread of this one is Vanderbilt -4.5. It had come down to 4, and then yesterday it went all the way up to 5.5. But then overnight, now it came back to Vandy -4.5. Total on this game of 45.5. My line on this game is Vandy basically -1 point. This is sort of like the Ohio State Miami in terms of the injury dash. In this case, it could be opt-outs, but we don't really have any for these teams. The two guys that we know are going to be out, each team out one starter. Iowa's out their cornerback, TJ Hall. He missed the last 2 games, and he is not on the Bowl depth chart. Kirk Ferentz said he doesn't expect other opt-outs. And then on the Vanderbilt side, Eli Stowers, their stud tight end who won the Mackey Award, first team All-SEC, he opted out of this game.
Phil Mackey Award? Is that what?
The Phil Mackey Award, indeed. Just one vote given there. We thought the first half against Buffalo in the opener, the Gophers against Buffalo, that it was going to be Jamison Gears because Drake Lindsay kept throwing it to Jamison Gears. I said, is he your front runner for the Phil Mackey Award this year? But then things went wayward for Jamison Gears the rest of the year. So I guess he had to give it to Eli Stowers. But Froton, with all this said, in Iowa and Vanderbilt today, who do you like in this one, the prop market?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that Iowa pass game or lack thereof. You've seen Mark Gronowski throw for under 20 pass attempts, I think in like the last 5 straight games, and it just trickles all the way down the receiving core where Sam Phillips, little Sam, 5'7", is listed at 1.5 receptions, and he went for 2, got 2 passes against Nebraska, but in the 6 games before that, he had 0 or 1 receptions. I think it'll be a grinded out type affair. I think you can get Vandy on the ground a little bit. Obviously Iowa isn't particularly proficient at throwing the ball. I know our friend Mr. Bainbridge has some feelings on a particular rushing prop here regarding to Iowa, and I am going to sort of pair that with I don't think Sam Phillips gets to 2 receptions. I'm going under 1.5 receptions on Sam Phillips for Iowa.
Bainbridge, what about for you?
Thor, as the resident Iowa Hawkeye fan, I will let you explain this one. Is Mark Gronowski scoring a touchdown today?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
He definitely is.
That's all it needs to be said. Yeah, he's one game all season. He hasn't scored a rushing touchdown. This is his final game of his college career. He leads the team in red zone rushing attempts at 33. The next closest is just 18 for Kamari Moulton. If they get in the red zone, which they will today, Mark Gronowski is scoring a touchdown. Find the best line. I got it at -110. That is steamed up to -130 on DraftKings. I do still like it at that point, but find the best line, shop around. He is scoring a touchdown today.
Definitely agree with that. Both these, you like it when they're both close to full strength, and in the non-CFP games, especially with teams that did well in the Power Four, this is exceedingly rare. So I definitely appreciate this. Eli Stowers' loss, though, is bigger on the Vanderbilt side than Hall for Iowa. Eli Stowers, Vandy's top pass catcher, and top playmaker on offense outside of Diego Pavia. You have 2 of the slowest paced teams in the nation here, and neither gives up havoc. Iowa had the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. Both play really good special teams. Vandy has the superior offense, obviously, and Iowa has the superior defense. Vandy's pass game, though, it takes a hit without Stowers, and its run game will take a hit against an Iowa run defense that excels against slowing down rushing offenses that use heavy personnel. Like Vanderbilt does. Vanderbilt's defense better against the run. They're number 39 in stuff rate. But again, Iowa's Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. You don't really get Iowa in the backfield, and so they're just able to carve out the efficiency with that. Clock's going to be running in this one, and both defenses excel in the red zone. So for me, with this one, I'm going to go the under the 40. Was it 45.5? I'm also going to take the points with Iowa. Now down to 4.5, but I'm happy to do that. Iowa's live in this one. They're live in every bowl game. And with Vanderbilt without, again, Stowers, like Iowa, to keep that one close. So I took a nimble at that money line too. Of course, you see me. Could be a little bit biased. So
on principle.
On principle. Moving to our next one. This is a 2 p.m. Eastern kickoff today on CBS. Arizona and Duke play in the Sun Bowl. The line on this one, Duke -3. We have a total of 47.5. This is another one where my line is going to dictate where I am. I think the line on this game is off. I have Duke -8.3, and a big reason for that is Arizona State's about as decimated as you'll ever see a bowl team. So I'm going to take a deep breath before I start this one in the confirmed outs on the Arizona State side, but here we go. Their quarterback 1, Sam Leavitt, is not going to play in this game. Their wide receiver 1, Jordan Tyson, is not going to play in this game. Their running back 1 and 3, Rayleigh Brown and Kyson Brown, are not going to play in this game.
And two. Kanye Udo's not playing either.
Oh, Udo's out in this one.
Udo's out.
Easy. No Yeezy.
Wow. Okay. So who's the running back now in Arizona? I thought it was going to be Udo.
It's going to be a freshman. Demarius Robinson, I think. That's his name.
Jesus. So Shimon Mateer, their tight end, is that's insane. They're down to the running back 4. They don't have anybody else on offense. Shimon Mateer's out in this game. They're good starting tight end. Then on the offensive line, they are out there starting center and both of their starting tackles. Then moving to the defensive side, they are out standout starting defensive end. They are out starting linebacker. They are out, I believe, 3 starting defensive backs. They're out Xavier Alford. They're out the cornerback 1, Keith Abney, who's the stud. Cornerback 2, Javon Robinson, is in the portal. He was not at both practices. Don't expect him to play. But then one of their top backup cornerbacks, Rodney Bimmage Jr., is also injured and was also not at bowl practice. So he is also not going to play. It would have been faster to tell you who is playing for Arizona State, but we never heard of any of those bumps, except for our boy Jeff Sims. It could be the Jeff Sims show today. And these boys
he's playing.
These boys are going to be talking about him in a second. But Arizona State, they have 11 players that have declared for the draft. Dillingham, he does allow the players in the portal to play in the bowls if they want to. But the guys that I was just talking about, they're the confirmed outs. There's even a possibility that we have a couple more on. Hell, Udo was a new one this morning. But yeah, you're going to have Jeff Sims here. And then the receiving core, and boys, please correct me if I'm wrong. I tried to piece this together going through the rest. I think it's going to be Malik McClain, Derek Eusebio, Jalen Moss, and then I think the tight end's going to be Cameron Harpole.
Yep.
The Jeff Sims starting at quarterback, but I will say in advance, Kenny Dillingham said that the freshman Cam Dyer will get some reps in this game as well. So we'll get to that in a second, like I said. And then on the Duke side, much less to talk about here. The confirmed outs there, they're starting right tackle Brian Parker opted out for the NFL draft. I think he's going to get selected on day 2 of the NFL draft, and I think he's going to move inside, but more on him this spring. Then Duke starting cornerback Chandler Rivers. He is gone for the draft, an undersized guy without good measurables, but he's a very skilled player. And then their good defensive end, Vincent Anthony Jr., also opted out for the NFL draft. Other defensive end, Wesley Williams declared for the draft, but Manny Diaz, the head coach there, said he expects him to play. And Manny Diaz also said everybody else outside the 3 I just mentioned were practicing and going to play in this one. Duke's cornerback Kamari Robinson missed the ACC title game with an injury. He is questionable. The cornerback room would become very thin if Kamari Robinson misses this game, although not nearly as thin as Arizona State's, where we can't even identify scholarly cornerbacks on that team. Darian Mensah, he is going to play in this one, considered opting into the draft, or considered declaring for the draft, but is going to return to Duke next year and is active for this game. With all that said, Eric, what do you like in this one?
Well, you know what I like. It's been, 6, 7, 8 years. Jeff Sims, I don't know. It's been, I've lost count for how many teams, how long he's been around. Maybe he took advantage of the Diego Pavia. Was he in JUCO for a little while? I have no idea with Jeff Sims. All I know is this. Why would you trot Jeff Sims out with that sort of a lineup that we're dealing with? Kenny Dillingham stays in Arizona State, signs the extension. He's not going anywhere. Wouldn't you want to get to look at your freshman QB, Cam? And I am making for all the Led Zeppelin fans out there, I know there are many. Cam Dyer Maker, right? Oh. Sims don't have to throw. Oh. 187.5 passing yards are going to give us for Jeff Sims in his last game.
Hey, you can get 190 now. You can get 190.
We get 190! My God, we are so lucky. Thank you, lucky stars. Quoting, you get him. You get your Jeff Sims unders. The beautiful thing. I was just looking at the Better Vision app right here. There's the Better Vision app. Thank you for our sponsor. Better Vision, so kind to us all season. It looks like those Jeff Sims unders are flying off the board. If you can find it anywhere, I think our boy Jacko, Steve Jackson, Minneapolis resident Thor, he just put in the chat that Jeff Sims passing has been pulled from Prize Picks live during the conversation before I even got to put it out. They just heard Jeff Sims's name. That's all it took for our friends over at Prize Picks. Thank you there, Phil. You're amazing. What an incredible job Phil's doing. They literally pulled him on the mention of his name. Scared. Didn't even get to the play. They are
speaking of Omar coming. Oh, speaking of Omar coming. Yeah.
Oh, he's coming. Fucking phenomenal. Best bet of the week. Thank you. This is the last chance we get on our best friend, Jeff Sims, to take one of his unders. Rejoice, everybody.
Absolutely incredible. We have to do it under Jeff Sims passing with the Carson Beck interception, right? I mean, just for old time's sake.
You have to. Last time for both of them are two friends. Great call.
I love it. Bainbridge, what do you like in this one?
Yeah, same. I mean, it's just like Carson Beck. This is the last time we're going to get a chance to bet on Jeff Sims under. So it's on principle. You got to take it. It's still up at Bet365 if you still have an account.
Thank you, Bet365. God.
It's
you may have low limits, but we can get it in, baby.
Dude, I'm so frustrated. We talked about in previous podcasts how like FanDuel has been releasing these the night before, the night before, the day of. We still don't have any props on FanDuel, which is just, I don't know, story of the bowl season, really.
That's utterly amazing. But yeah, one last shot for Jeff Sims and Carson Beck, and we are waiving the wait period to induct Jeff Sims into the CFB Prop Hall of Fame after this game. Jeff, you go right in right after this. You will be inducted. I'm going to spend the next 3 hours building that guy a statue. But my handicap on this one, like I mentioned, Arizona State as depleted as a bowl team as you'll ever see. And then they also, in the middle of bowl preparation, they had to fend off Michigan for their head coach. And it seemed like that took a couple of days. And there was the weird stuff with that. And then Dillingham had his long talks with the media. He was trying to identify a millionaire in Tempe to give us a bunch of money. I'll make you the biggest star in Tempe. We have to keep up in the portal. Then his guys are getting picked off. Then Kenny is out there beating the pavement with the transfer portal, right, as well. During all this, there was a lot going on. Arizona State cannot pass with the personnel on hand to the point of the props that the gentleman just made. And that is the way to attack Duke's defense. It just is. So ASU has to go super run heavy here, but they're down to their RB4. And Duke's run defense has been way, way better than its pass defense. And then very importantly, Duke has had a top 25 SP plus offense, and a lot of it remains intact here with the exception of Parker, but you get Mensa, the rest of your skill guys. This line is way too low. Duke is winning this game by double digits, and a proper send-off to our boy, Jeff Sims, CFB prop Hall of Famer, Jeff Sims. Froton, we'll keep you in for this one, and then we'll cut you right after. Your thoughts on the Michigan, Texas, and the Citrus Bowl. This is a 3 p.m. kickoff today, Eastern, ABC. Texas -7, 48.5 is the total here. My line on this one is Texas -5.2. The guys out on Michigan, their backup quarterback, Mikey Keene, is out. Their top two running backs, Justice Haynes remains out. Jordan Marshall also out. Samaj Morgan is also likely out, although Michigan fans do not appear to care about that. It seems like they're happy for that. You can't drop a ball on the bench. And then on defense, Michigan, they're out their edge. Derek Moore, linebacker, Barham. I missed the left guard is also an opt-out on the offense, but Ernest Hausman, and then Rod Moore, although Rod Moore only played like 15 snaps this year.
Let me just real quick, Thor, correct you. Jordan Marshall is expected to play. I don't
Marshall
know.
Is in. Okay.
Yeah, he is in. I don't know if he's going to be 100%. He was commenting earlier this week to the media about his shoulder that he injured against Northwestern and when he was limited in the finale against Ohio State. But he is expected to play. He was in full pads during practice.
Okay, I appreciate that. On the Texas side, confirmed outs there. Their running back room has been decimated. And boys, do we have Wisner, Baxter, Jarrett Gibson all in the portal?
Yep.
Are they all out in this game?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Then also DeAndre Moore, their wide receiver, I believe he's out in this one. used backup offensive lineman who had 310 snaps likely out for Texas. But then on the defensive side is where they really took a hit. Two of their the edge rusher starters there out. A couple of starting linebackers out, including Anthony Hill, who's going to go in round 2, I believe, of the draft in April. And then there's stud safety Michael Laffy Taffy, as we say. And then 2 cornerbacks. They're also headed to the NFL draft, not playing, Malik Muhammad and Jalen Gulbo on the other side. They're going to be without, it looks like 6 or 7 defensive starters here. And then the running back position, if what we just said is true with all the top guys out, I think it's going to be James Simon and Christian Clark platooning. We've seen them a little bit this year. We haven't seen Michael Terry III very much, but it sounds like he also could get some run in this game. I won't talk about the Michigan coaching stuff because I think everybody knows what's going on there. And then Pete Kwiatkowski on the Texas side, the defensive coordinator, was fired to open the door for Will Muschamp. Froton, give your thoughts quick, your prop in this one, and then Phil, you can. Froton has he has an NBC show to get to, so we'll cut you right when you're done.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I appreciate the quickness. You are screaming through these games today, Thor. With Michigan, as you mentioned, that Texas secondary is depleted right now. You're pretty much facing all backups at this point, and that's really good because we know who is going to play on Michigan. It's going to be Andrew Marsh, the sensational
your boy
freshman. Oh, I love Andrew Marsh. Just watching, I watched him again, all his receptions last night, just to stroll down memory lane. 80% catch rate. First 4 games of the year, he ran like 12 routes in the first 4 games. Since then, clear number 1 over there from Michigan. He had 0 catches against Ohio State, but just about every other game of consequence. He is hit hard and often. He is the clear focal point of that passing game. And with Jordan Marshall compromised, I swear, I had 83.5 on the sheet. I kept it off because I wasn't sure about whether he was going to play or not. The fact that he is playing, I think you take a look at that 88, and I think it's 80. It
was down to 78 last night.
Oh, boy, it's down to 70. I mean, I took a speculative earlier, but I didn't put it on the show. I think about the prop. Michael probably backed me. I think that's probably a good play.
Yeah.
That being said, I love Marsh. Took him at 44.5. I saw him at FanDuel on the Better Vision app up to 53.5 now because I hit it pretty hard over there, and the accounts we use are tailed. So they've kind of warmed up to that. But I do think you see a big game out of Marsh.
Love that and appreciate it, Froton. And we'll see you next time. We'll kick it to Mr. Bainbridge. What do you like in this game?
Well, first off, I'm a terrible fan because I have a plus. I have
Bainbridge,
a minus.
muted.
Oh, jeez, man. No, you got me.
We got you?
Yeah, I should be on.
I still can't hear you.
Hey, my mic's good.
Thor, why don't you refresh, and then we get the audience can hear Bainbridge's take on this, and then you should be able to hear him when you come back, dude.
Yeah. So real quick, I got a minus 5.5 ticket on Texas. Unfortunately, I took that when the Sharon Moore news came out that he would be fired. But my official prop play for this one is Arch Manning anytime touchdown. That's actually at plus 150 over at FanDuel right now. So you get better odds at this point. But as Thor alluded to, down RB1, down RB2, down RB3. I love these anytime touchdown props with quarterbacks that lead their team in red zone opportunities, which Arch Manning does. He's got 20 on the year to lead the Longhorns. So I think he will be counted on to handle some of that rushing load, especially when they get down in the red zone without their top 3 rushers. So I like that anytime touchdown play. As far as the Michigan side, I kind of like a speculative under on Jordan Marshall. He made some comments this week that he's not 100% healthy. I think you'll see some of the backup running back there. And then with the Michigan passing game, Bryce Underwood is spiked. They call him. It's so funny. They list him on FanDuel as Brycewood. They don't even spell out his full name. They list him as Brycewood. But yeah, he opened at 160.5 passing yards. That is now up to 184.5 passing yards. So clearly, with the depleted Texas secondary, they're expecting Michigan to throw the ball a little bit more in this matchup.
What do you think on that one, Bainbridge, with the Underwood, the passing?
No, I do like the over there, and I really like the Andrew Marsh at 44.5. The only reason I was hesitant on that one is because there was legitimate rumors that Marsh is poking around the transfer portal, looking at other opportunities. But again, just kind of like Jordan Marshall, he's pictured in practice on the team Twitter page. So I can see a pass heavy or a more pass heavy script for Michigan in this matchup, given the deficiencies in the Texas secondary.
I totally agree with that. And also Texas has an elite run defense, right? So all the factors would suggest going through the air. Then also Michigan, you have the interim staff that has nothing to lose. This is the last game that Biff Poggi and his cut off sweatshirts and whatever that he's going to get to coach. He badly wanted that full-time job, but this is sort of his swan song as a guy who gets to run the team. And then the most important thing for Michigan now that you have gotten Kyle Whittingham as the coach, Bainbridge, what's the next most important thing for that program? It's getting Bryce Underwood to return, right?
Cross my fingers, yeah.
Yeah, and so in this game, why wouldn't you be like, Bryce, we're going to let you air it out this whole game. You have every incentive to do it. So I love the over there for Underwood.
The other look that I gave, I didn't officially take it, but I just don't be surprised if you see Bryce Underwood run the ball a little bit more in this matchup. When Biff Poggi was the interim head coach for the two games against Central Michigan and Nebraska, Bryce Underwood ran for 155 yards combined in those two games. He had 18 or 19 rushing attempts. It was his highest numbers of the season there. So don't be surprised if you see him run a little bit more too in this matchup.
I love that. Yeah. And again, it's like, Michigan's offense, it hasn't been good, and Texas defense so good. Fair enough, but this is the 13th game for Underwood, and then it should be a more modern game plan. Can we say that? At least you're going to let your quarterback throw. And then again, Texas's defense, you're out so many starters here. And in particular, that secondary and the pass rush are the two big things that have just a huge hunk has been taken out of them. So I really like that. This game is going to be won through the air. That's the first sentence of my handicap in this one. Texas's offense was going to lean that way anyway with so many running backs out. And you look at the Texas passing game against Michigan, the pass defense there, you can nick Michigan a little bit through the air. Number 97 in success rate, number 93 in completion percentage allowed. They don't give up as much of the explosives, but you'll see Texas kind of nicking them there. And then I think you're going to use Arch Manning's legs a lot more, like Bainbridge is mentioning. And for folks that haven't seen Arch Manning, you have the big NFL frame, but he has athleticism that his uncles don't. Now, of course, he doesn't have the passing acumen or the awareness or the accuracy or the release. Yeah, it's that the uncles have, or the decision-making. But he is a much better athlete, a big, rugged guy there, and gets into the end zone. The arrow's pointing up for the Longhorns 2026. But Michigan, though, has stabilized things on their end with the hire of Whittingham. I did have an initial lean to Texas on this one, but laying the points. But with so many guys out in this one, I couldn't get there with the number 7.5, whatever. I think the better bet in this one is going under the 48.5. With even with the guys out on the Texas side, I just think that this is going to be a more kind of methodical game and sort of paper cutting on the passing on both sides with the short passing game. Bainbridge, our last one, I believe, right? The last game on the docket here. Yep. And we'll close this one out and then give Froton's pick on it as well. But it's the Las Vegas Bowl, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN today. And, of course, they have to clear the way for the college football playoff game this evening, which for folks that are joining us late, the first four games that we did on this episode, we did the college football playoff game. So you can start the thing again at the beginning when we're done. But the Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska, Utah, this line has gone back up to 14.5. It had come down after the Whittingham stuff. Now it is back up over that 14 points for Utah being favored. Total on this game is 50.5. My line on this game is Utah minus 12.8. The guys out on both sides, Nebraska, their starting quarterback, Dylan Raiola, he's injured and he is in the portal now. There's the weird thing with firing his uncle. It seemed like they kind of knew Dylan was out the door, but he won't be playing in this one. Neither will the actual guy that ran their offense this year, Emmett Johnson, the running back. finished third in the nation, rushing yards 1,451. He won't be playing. Their starting right guard, Rocco Spindler, NFL draft and a finger injury, won't be playing. And then their starting tackles they have not had since the since the middle of the season. And one of the reasons why Nebraska's offensive line has been just utter trash. It wasn't great at the beginning, but with injuries now, it's become actual trash. Then on the defensive side, Deshaun McCullough, edge rusher, is declared for the NFL draft, not on the bowl roster. Matt Rule didn't think there was going to be others besides that. I will mention that the backup quarterback, TJ Lateef, had a hamstring injury in late November, but Matt Rule said he'll play. He started the 3 games after Raiola broke his ankle against USC on November 1st. Lateef been up and down, played good against UCLA, maybe not quite as good against Penn State and Iowa. So we'll see how he does here. And then on the coaching side for Nebraska, they fired their defensive coordinator. He's going to get replaced by San Diego State's after this game. But Phil Snow is going to be the interim DC here. And then both the assistant coaches in the trenches, offensive line coach and defensive line coach, got fired by Matt Rule as well. Then going to the Utah side, confirmed out here, their leading receiver, Ryan Davis, is doubtful with an injury. Then we are not going to see either of Utah's 2 potential first-round NFL tackles in Caleb Lamu, the left tackle, and Spencer Fano, the right tackle. They are both headed to the NFL. Then on the other side, Logan Fano, their defensive end, is out. And then they also lose John Henry Daly, defensive end, who is out for the year. And John Henry Daly is good. He earned All-American honors this season and was top 5 nationally in sacks with 11.5. And tackles for loss was 17.5, and he won the Bednarik Award this year. So that injury hurts Utah. And then, of course, the Utah coaching stuff. Whittingham goes to Michigan. Morgan Scalley is going to take over, has been their defensive coordinator and the known successor for a while there for Utah. He takes over the helm here. Bainbridge, what are your angles here? And if you'd be so kind and also go into Froton's place.
Well, Froton didn't have a play, so I will give out 2 plays for this game. First one, I'm on Bird Ficklin, the quote-unquote backup quarterback for Utah. They really split it between he and Devin Dampier. I'm going his anytime touchdown. That's at -120 at Bet365. It's up to -155 on FanDuel, so you get better odds there over at Bet365. But he's got 6 touchdowns in the last 5 games. He's got 9 red zone carries in the last 5 games. I really think that they are going to use both quarterbacks in this game to try and preserve possible injury with Devin Dampier and some of the, maybe Wayshawn Parker as well. But we've talked about it most of the year on our shows. The Nebraska run defense is just putrid. 97th in yards allowed per game, 108th in stuff rate, 112th in success rate, 129th in explosive plays allowed, which plays right into this Bird Ficklin number because he's averaging 9 yards a carry as the backup quarterback. He is a dynamic runner too. So I like his anytime touchdown. The other look I gave, this is a smaller play, but I do kind of like the Devin Dampier under 26.5 passing attempts. You can also get that over at Bet365. Just as I said, we're likely going to see both Devin Dampier and Bird Ficklin take snaps here for Utah. Utah's won 8 games this season by double digits. In 6 of those games, Dampier has gone under 26.5 passing attempts. So he's gone under this more easily than not. Just real quick, some injury notes.
Bainbridge, Underdog just yanked the Devin Dampier pass attempts as you were talking.
I said it's a small play. I didn't say it's a hammer by any stretch. So surprisingly,
someone just hammered it. Yeah, just hammered it.
Just some quick notes on this game too that I thought were interesting. Ryan Davis, I think, is more probable than doubtful based on the quotes yesterday. So you could maybe look at a Larry Simmons under. I haven't fully capped that one, but he is the replacement for Ryan Davis. So if Davis plays, then I think Simmons takes a back seat there. On the Nebraska side, Dana Holgorsen spoke to the media earlier this week, and he had some interesting comments. We're going to see a running back by committee between 3 and 4 running backs there. Unfortunately, we don't have any rushing prop lines, but I did think that was interesting. With the receivers, and we do have lines for Nazir Hunter, and Dane Key, and I believe Ja'Cory Barney as well. But he said early on in bowl practices, they completely rested those 3 receivers. I don't know. Like Dane Key's a senior. He's going to be gone after this year. Hunter is probably an NFL draft guy, maybe a day 2, day 3 type. But if they're resting them, they might play their younger guys with TJ Lateef at quarterback. So I definitely would not play any overs on the Nebraska receivers in this matchup.
That's interesting. And also with, and he's not in charge, but he's in charge-ish of the offense. Dana Holgorsen is a guy who sucked in bowl season, like going back a long time. I don't know. And you don't know the injury history there as well, but I would certainly take him at face value as far as that goes.
Yeah, if you have a Hard Rock account, I think this is only at Hard Rock, I would put $1 on Quinn Clark, an underclassman receiver. Dana Holgorsen singled him out as being the underclassman that has impressed the most. Put $1 on his anytime touchdown at plus 4,000. Might as well, if Holgerson's singling him out, might as well just put $1 on that and see if you can cash that out.
I like that angle. I wish he was on Underdog, but we don't see him there right now. But Hard Rock, you said, is the one? Bainbridge?
Hard Rock, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. For me, my handicap of this game, Nebraska, can you exploit Utah's Achilles heel of the poor run defense without Johnson and without the Bainbridge is talking about the rotation there and everything like that, and you have a bad offensive line as well. But I mean, that's what you're going to try to go at. You can't pass on Utah. Utah's 17th in pass defense with 177 passing yards per game allowed. Whereas you look at the rushing yards allowed per game, Utah's actually allowed more rushing yards per game than passing, and Utah is 111th in that metric. Nebraska, they also have a bad run defense, and they have a good pass defense. And this is going into what Bainbridge is talking about. Utah, they already want to run, and Nebraska, their defensive composition, it incentivizes you to do it all the more. And I think Utah is going to have success there. Neither of these offenses is explosive, so you have to work for it down the field. This is why, and then you have issues on both of the offensive lines. You have both of the starting offensive tackles on both sides are out. And that was Utah's team strength before. And it was, well, of course, Nebraska's team weakness, but either way, both those units are down. With this thing at 14.5, I do lean Nebraska with the points, despite my trepidation with their personnel and Dana Holgorsen, but I don't think that's the best bet here. I think the best bet here is the under 50.5. In a game, again, where I expect that clock to be running throughout, and Nebraska has the defections on their offensive side, and what I just mentioned about both the offensive lines, I think that number is too high, so I will be going under it. Any other thoughts, Mr. Bainbridge, before we let the folks go? We're 18 minutes or so away from kick today. Glorious day of college football.
Glorious day. No, I have no thoughts. I need to set my DraftKings lineup for DFS, which I always wait till the last minute.
Well, in that case, we better let folks go. I hope everyone out there, you got your bets in and everything. For myself, for Michael Bainbridge, for Eric Froton, we appreciate all of you guys joining us. Please, anyone on here, please click like on this video. Please subscribe. If it gave you any value, send it to a friend as well. We would really appreciate that. But until next time, let's go cash some tickets. Until next year. Yeah. We will see you next year, and Happy New Year to everyone out there. We'll see you next time.